All right, let's talk about two of the biggest, most fundamental pillars of human experience, religion and philosophy. I mean, these are the heavy hitters, right? They both spring from this incredible human capacity we have to both believe and to think critically. So the big question is, where do they connect and where do they go their separate ways? That's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so to get us started, check out this quote from our source text. It frames the whole thing perfectly. It's like a family tree, you know? Religion is this ancient, massive tree trunk. It's been there forever. And philosophy? Well, philosophy is the curious branch that grew right out of that trunk, questioning everything. So you've got this really deep familial connection, which, like any family, can get, well, complicated.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start at their shared beginnings, then look at the big split, the different kinds of truth they talk about, how they view each other, how they play out in real life, and finally, what it all means for us. All right, first up, their shared cradle. You have to remember, way back when, there wasn't this hard line between philosophy and religion. They were kind of two sides of the same coin, right? Both were part of this fundamental human quest to figure out, well, everything. Think about ancient myths. They weren't just stories. They were attempts to explain the cosmos and give people a moral compass. That's where you see their shared DNA, this mix of deep thinking and powerful belief. And this is a really key argument from our source material. You just can't get philosophy without first getting religion. But why? Well, think about it. Religion was the one that first threw down the gauntlet, asking all the biggest questions. Why are we here? What's right and wrong? What's the point of it all? It basically created this fertile ground, this intellectual playground, for philosophy to then come in and start analyzing, questioning, and organizing those huge ideas. Okay, so they start from the same place. But here's where things get really interesting. It's how they take that common ground and build on it. They use completely different toolkits, totally different sources of information. And this is where that family resemblance we talked about starts to fade, and you really see them forge their own unique identities. And boom, here it is, the absolute crucial point where their paths split. For religion, the ultimate source of knowledge is divine revelation, Vahi, as it's noted here. This is knowledge that is given to us from a source beyond the human world. Philosophy? Totally different game. It's all about human reason, or akal. This is knowledge that we have to go out and acquire ourselves through logic, through argument, through investigation. So if your sources are that different, it only makes sense that your methods are going to be polar opposites too. Religion's core method is faith, or iman. It's about acceptance, about submission to those truths that were revealed. But philosophy's core method, it's inquiry, sorgulema. It's about critical questioning, pulling things apart, analyzing every claim, and just following the logic wherever it takes you. But wait, our author wants to be really clear about something here. The conflict we see so often, it isn't necessarily between true religion and sound philosophy. The idea is that a sound mind and a true religion shouldn't ever contradict each other. The friction, the real conflict, comes from corrupted versions of each. You know, a religion that becomes blindly dogmatic and rejects reason, or philosophy that gets so arrogant it dismisses anything it can't measure. Okay, different sources, different methods. So what about the answers they come up with? Let's talk about the nature of truth in each system, because, spoiler alert, they are worlds apart. This is probably one of the biggest takeaways of the whole discussion. Religion deals in absolutes. Because its truths come from revelation, they're presented as final, unchanging. It's a take it or leave it kind of situation. But a philosopher's conclusions, they're a totally different beast. They're built from human reasons, so they're always going to be personal, they're always up for debate, and they're seen as probable, not certain. And this quote from the philosopher Etienne Gilson really helps visualize how they operate in different zones. Think of it like a set of nested questions. Science takes us as far as it can, right? It deals with the stuff we can observe and measure. But then we hit a wall. That's where philosophy, or metaphysics, steps in, tackling the big questions science can't touch. And then, even philosophy hits a wall. And that's where religion comes in, reaching for the ultimate questions that lie beyond even metaphysics. So, with all these differences in mind, how do they actually see each other? I mean, what is the relationship status here? As you can probably guess, it's complicated. It runs the whole gamut from sworn enemies to best friends. Our source lays out three main ways people have looked at this. First, there's the irreconcilable view. They're just oil and water, fundamentally in conflict. Then there's the partial harmony camp. They're different, for sure, but they can cooperate, maybe even help each other out. And finally, you have the identity view, which is the boldest claim of all. that at their highest levels, they're actually the same thing, just two different languages describing the exact same truth. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've been talking a lot about theory and ideas, but what about real life? How do they actually shape the way we live? Because here, the difference is huge. One is like a blueprint of reality, and the other is more like a user's manual for life. This chart lays it out so clearly. Look at the goals. Religion is all about practice. It's about doing things, rituals, community, a shared path. It's communal. It brings people together. Philosophy? It's way more theoretical. It's focused on the individual, on giving you a coherent way to understand the world. So, to put it simply, religion offers a ready-made way of life, while philosophy offers an explanation of being.
And that leads to this crucial point. Religion doesn't just present ideas. It demands something from you. It asks for your belief, your love, your action. It's about full-on commitment. Philosophy, well, it's a little more hands-off. It presents its arguments, its findings, and then kind of steps back and says, okay, what do you think? It's up to you what you do with this information.
So let's bring it all home. At the end of the day, what do these two paths actually give you? What kind of comfort or assurance do they offer when you're trying to navigate this messy thing we call life?
Religion's promise is one of deep psychological security. It gives you hope, a way to make sense of suffering and loss, and a sense of ultimate justice with reward and punishment. It provides this incredible feeling of belonging. The gifts of philosophy are, well, they're different. They're more intellectual. It offers the profound satisfaction of clarity, of having a coherent explanation for the world. And it hands you this amazing toolkit for critical thinking.
And this is the final thought our source leaves us with. Do we really have to choose? Must these two fundamental human experiences always be in conflict? Or could they be two different but equally important paths that actually complete what it means to be human? It really makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe the challenge isn't picking a side, but figuring out how to walk both paths at once.